Hi everyone, my name is Cormie, and today I want to talk to you guys about choosing a healer main in Shadowlands. So this video is mostly directed at the kind of person who just wants to pick one healer to try and maintain throughout at least the first season of Shadowlands, and which one is looking like the strongest for them to be able to do that. If you're the kind of person who likes to maintain one character for raid and then another one that's best for Mythic Plus, this video might not be for you. This video is mostly going to be trying to look at the strengths and weaknesses of each of the healers right now on the beta in raid, Mythic Plus, and PvP. And most importantly in Shadowlands, that healer has a covenant that is good in all three of those types of content, because if you want to be able to play one character, you need to have a covenant that's good for all those different kinds of content. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I kind of want to look at is the strengths and weaknesses of each of the healers in Raid, Mythic Plus, and PvP. So I've ranked them all on a scale of 0 to 3. 0 being the lowest and 3 being the highest. I mostly got them off my own opinions for Raid and Mythic Plus, but I wouldn't take them too seriously because they're pretty arbitrary rankings. And then for PvP, I consulted some other people who know more about PvP Shadowlands right now than I do, because I haven't spent a lot of time doing that. Again, please don't read into these numbers too much. They're very subject to change, and they're just my own opinions. Okay, so for Discipline Priest, I gave them the highest number they could get for Raid and Mythic Plus right now. They're doing really well in both of those things. And then as far as PvP goes, they're looking to be the best in PvP as well. As far as just looking at arenas, we're not really looking at RBGs when I'm looking at those numbers. They're just doing really well. If we look at Holy Priest is not doing nearly as well. They don't bring a lot to a raid, they don't bring a lot to Mythic Plus, and in PvP they're kind of lackluster, especially when you could just go Discipline instead, so that's why they have such a low number across the board. If we're looking at Raid, Holy Paladin, I gave them a 2 for Raid. They still bring a lot of good utility to the Raid. Mythic Plus, they're feeling a bit clunky and maybe don't have all the throughput they need for Mythic Plus right now. And as far as PvP, their healing is still kind of lacking from what I understand, but they also have the ability to do a lot of damage, which is why some of the people think of PvP that Holy Paladins can do really well this season. But looking at Resto Shaman along with Disc Priest are looking like some of the best healers right now for Raid. Resto Shaman is having troubles in Mythic Plus for the same reason that they were in BFA, though I do think they are in a better spot for Mythic Plus this expansion than they were last expansion. And as far as PvP goes, they're also not looking that crazy strong as well, and so they get a total of a 5. For looking at Resto Druid, this is like the only healer I give a half mark because I have a hard time just placing them as a 1 or 2 in Raid. They really serve a niche, I think, in Raid with their high mobility usually, so there's usually a couple of fights where they can be really well utilized. But other than that, they don't bring any unique utility to a Raid, which is why they're ranked so low. As far as Mythic Plus, again, Resto Druids always do well in Mythic Plus, so they're right up there with Disc Priest. And then PvP, they're also doing pretty well. They have some really good legendaries, even though they got nerfed yesterday, they're still pretty good. So their total is 6.5. And if we look at Mistweaver Monk, they're doing okay in Raid, they're doing pretty decent in Mythic Plus, and they're doing okay at PvP again, and so I just gave them a 2 on everything, and so their total is 6. Again, please don't read too closely into these rankings. That's not what I wanted to make the focus of this video. Just kind of my opinions on where the strengths and weaknesses of each of the healers stand. Okay. So that's just looking at the kind of strengths of the healers. Now I kind of want to look into what covenants are strongest for each class in each of these 3 realms of content right now on the beta. Alright, so first we're going to look at is Discipline Priest. We're going to look at its Raid Covenant, Mythic Plus Covenant, and its PvP Covenant. And what I have down here is the highest similarity, meaning how similar or how close you can get to being completely optimal in all 3 realms of content if you went the most common covenant. So we look at Disc Priest, the strongest thing they have for right now for Raid is Venthyr, and then Kyrion's doing okay for Mythic Plus. Kyrion's doing really well, and then Venthyr's kind of okay, and then Venthyr is really good for PvP right now, and it's not really negotiable. Or it is negotiable, but my friend said that they're doing really well, and they should definitely take Venthyr if they can. And so if you take the similarity, if you all went Venthyr, you could be 82.5% optimal. That's just kind of an arbitrary number, but it's just how we're going to kind of look at it for the rest of this video. If we look at Holy Priest, for Raid, they're doing well as Kyrian, Mythic Plus is Kyrian, and then PvP, they're also taking Venthyr, so the highest optimization they can get to is about 66%. If they went Kyrian, they'd only really be suffering in PvP. If we look at Holy Paladin, they do well mostly with Kyrian, but can maybe go Night Fae. And then for Mythic Plus, also do well with Kyrian. And then for PvP, it's looking like Venthyr or Night Fae. So their highest optimization, if they were to go to Kyrian, would be 66%. If we look at Resto Shaman, Necrolord and Venthyr are both looking really good for raid. Mythic Plus, Venthyr is a good winner because it does a lot of damage. PvP, Necrolord is doing really good. Necrolord is doing good for a lot of healers right now inside PvP because the frictionless ooze, it's like a soulbind. But they can also do well as Venthyr, and so their highest optimization is at 82.5%. If we look at Resto Druid, the best thing they can take for raid is Night Fae or maybe Venthyr. Same thing for Mythic Plus. However, in PvP they want to go Necrolord, and so they can only get to like 66% optimization if they were to go Night Fae. And then if we look at Mistweaver, the best thing for them for right now for raid is Venthyr, and for Mythic Plus it's also Venthyr. Bone Dust Brew did get nerfed this week. If you haven't, I mean it didn't get nerfed, it got bug fixed finally. It's been broken for 6 months where it's been broken, so now Venthyr is looking like the best for both of these PvE things. And then as far as PvP goes, it's kind of mixed on what's good right now, but all three of these are looking pretty good. So it's possible if Mistweaver only went Venthyr that they're the only class that looks like that could be like the most optimal in all three realms of content. So this is probably the most frustrating part of Shadowlands for everyone. If you want to be able to just only work on one character and you enjoy playing all these different like parts of the game, or maybe you only care about a couple and so it'll be easier for you to optimize if you only care about like raid and PvP or something like that. But something else I wanted to kind of do was combine those last two numbers that we just looked at. So if we combined the kind of score that I gave them based on how well they do in each type of content and the highest optimization they could get by choosing to go one covenant, how good they would be in all three, we could get kind of some other numbers which I call the total score. And then we can see that this priest has the highest, and then Mistweaver has the next highest, and then Resto Druid and yada yada. And so I kind of made that, and I made it into a one-trick healer main tier list. If you were going to choose just one healer for Shadowlands that you're going to maintain, which one would be the best? Okay, so I know that was a bit of a little bit of fluffy content, but I was hoping it might be useful to some people because I know a lot of people have been coming in my chat and commenting on my YouTube videos that they just want to pick a main and they don't really want to worry so much about maintaining an alt, whether you don't have time or you just don't care enough. So I hope for those of you who are trying to just pick one healer to focus on, you found this helpful. Thank you.